On the Catwalk by Chris Rose. I can't believe I'm here. Only a few hours ago, I was walking down the catwalk, feeling the flashes from the cameras and the eyes of people watching me, keeping cool, doing my stuff. And now I'm here. I'm in jail. My name is Carrie Brown. I was a famous model. Now I'm a famous criminal. I'm going to tell you the story of how I got here, and I'm going to tell you why I'm innocent. But please, give me a bit of time. Right now, I'm scared and cold. This all seems like a terrible nightmare. I'm sure that I'm going to wake up in a minute and find myself in home and my nice white bed. I've waited a long time now, though, and I still haven't woke up. I'm only 18 years old, scared, cold, and in jail. It's a long story, so maybe it's best if I start from the beginning. I was never very good at school. I wasn't stupid, I just wasn't interested in any of the subjects, and I didn't like the teachers. I didn't have many friends. I think the others were jealous of me because I was taller and more beautiful. My best friend then was my mom, and she still is. She was always close to me and she always helped me. The only person who really helped me was Helga Olin. And now Helga's dead. When I was 16, I went on holiday to France with my mom. She had lots of friends there, and we went nearly every summer. I used to lie on the beach all day in Cannes or Nice, watching all the rich and beautiful people. In the evenings, we went to elegant parties in the big house on the Riviera, or sometimes on board yacht. It was at one of these parties that I met Max for the first time. At that time, Max was only a photographer. He took fashion photographs for lots of European magazines. I saw him talking to Mum. He was tall and elegant, but had a relaxed look. He was wearing an open-neck shirt without a tie, and he hadn't had a shave. "Carrie, this is Max." Mum introduced him to me. "He's a photographer. He says he wants to take some photos of you. He thinks you could be a model." Of course, at that time I was delighted. Now I realize that meeting Max was probably the biggest mistake I ever made. Max took some pictures of me wearing casual clothes on the beach at Setiawan and sold them to a French fashion magazine. A few days later, a chain of Italian shops asked me to do a shoot for them. I remember at the time I didn't even know what a shoot was. "It's just a word they used to mean a collection of photos," explained Max. "Don't worry, I'm not going to shoot you." It all happened so quickly. It was only 2 years ago, but it seems like a lifetime when I think all the things that have happened in the last 2 years. I remember doing the shoot for the Italians as if it was yesterday. We went to Rome and we took pictures around the Trevi Mountain and in Piazza di Spagna. It was so romantic. That evening, we went to eat at a restaurant and Max offered to be my manager. "A manager?" I said. "I don't need a manager. I'm a person, not a business." "Listen," replied Max, "you are going to be very famous, and you need somebody to take care of your money for you. You shouldn't worry about money when you're still so young. You should just have a good time. Enjoy yourself while you can." Because I was still too young, Mom signed the contract for me. Max became my manager. I think Max was a really good manager because after I signed the contract, Everything exploded. I was traveling all the time. In 1 week, I went from Paris to New York to Tokyo and then back to Paris. I never saw a house. I lived in hotels. We always went to eat in restaurants, but I couldn't eat what I wanted. When Max and Mom ate dim sum, pasta, sushi, steak, I just had some salad and a bottle of mineral water. I was photographed all the time. At the beginning, I did pictures for magazines, all type of clothes, from swimming costume to expensive silk evening gowns to jeans. I think the high point was when I was on the cover of Vogue. They took a picture of me wearing a great big diamond necklace and earrings and holding a beautiful gray cat. It was a fantastic photo. Mom put the cover of the magazine in a frame and put it on the wall at home. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. It was after the Vogue front cover that I started to get offers from the really big names. Gucci, Dior, Armani, and Versace all asked me to model their new spring, summer, autumn, or winter collection. The show were frightening at the beginning. Then I met Helga. Max introduced me to her. She was already a famous model and a good friend of Max. Helga was probably my only friend in the world of modeling. She was a bit older than me and had a lot of experience. She helped me when I was nervous or frightened before one of the big catwalk shows. Even though the shows were scary, I felt excited when I walked out from behind a curtain onto the long catwalk. I walked along the catwalk and felt everybody's eyes looking at me. I heard their voice talking about me as I turned around and walked back up the catwalk. I felt the flashing lights of their cameras all around me. I remember that I wore sunglasses all the time because there were always the lights of the cameras flashing in my eyes. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I was happy or not. Everything seemed to happen quickly for me to enjoy it. And then there was the other problems. Drugs. There, I've said it. A lot of people say there are no drugs in the world of modeling. But I told you I was going to tell you the truth. And that's the truth. It's sad, but it's true. A lot of other girls in my profession have taken or still take drugs. Models have to stay awake for 24 hours a day sometimes. Photo shoots, catwalk shows, interviews, travel. Some of the girls take drugs to help them feel happy or just to stay awake. It's a real problem in modeling. I have never taken any drugs. I don't even smoke or drink alcohol. I look after my body and my looks very carefully. This is the truth. But now the police don't believe me. Unfortunately, Helga had a problem with drugs. We were in New York to do the show for the Armando Ferrucci collection. Helga had just flown from Berlin. She looked a bit tired, but I thought she was okay. She gave me and Max a kiss and said hi to us both. Everything went really well. It was quite a small show, and there were only 4 models, including Helga and myself. After the show finished, the other girls said they were going to a party and asked us to go with them. Helga said thanks, but no, she was feeling a bit tired. I decided to stay with her. I went to call my mom and Max and left Helga in the dressing room. I was only out for the room for a few minutes. When I came back, Helga was lying in a chair with her eyes closed. For a moment, I thought she was asleep, but only for a moment. She felt cold when I touched her. I touched her wrist and there was no pulse. I don't really remember what happened next. I remember screaming, I remember crying, I remember that an ambulance arrived, but it was too late. Yes, it certainly was a terrible shock when I found Helga Olen's body. And it was an even bigger shock when I found myself being arrested for her murder. 2 policemen came to our hotel room. They said to my mom that they just wanted to ask a few questions. Okay, Miss Logan. Unfortunately, there are a few details about Miss Owen's death that aren't clear, said the first policeman. It seems that Miss Owen died of a drug overdose, continued the second one, but no drugs of any type were found on her person or in her belongings. There was no trace of any type of drug in the dressing room where you found her body. Miss Logan, we want you to tell us the truth, said the first policeman. Did you ever see Helga Owen taking drugs of any kind? No, I didn't. It was the truth. I knew that Helga sometimes used drugs, but I had never seen her doing it. Miss Logan, I'm going to ask you another serious question now. I want you to be honest with us. Have you ever taken drugs of any kind? No, I have not, I replied again. It was the truth. Well, continued the policeman, would you please explain to us why we found over 200 grams of pure cocaine in the pocket of the dress you were wearing this evening? Of course, I couldn't answer. The policeman said that they needed to ask some more questions and that I had to go to the police station with them. When we arrived at the police station, I was formally charged with supplying drugs and involuntary homicide. That means they thought I had given or sold the drugs to Helga and that she died when she took them. My mother called a lawyer and told me to not say anything. She also tried to phone Max, but Max disappeared. Now it's night outside. I can see the sky getting dark. I'm still cold and I'm still scared. I can't sleep. But I've been thinking a lot. Even though it's dark outside, some things in my head are clear now. Very clear. Max has disappeared. Max was a good friend of Helga. Why has Max disappeared at this moment? It's not a good moment to disappear. I don't think that Max killed Helga, but I think that he gave her the drugs which killed her. My problem is now that I must prove it. There will be a trial. It will be long and difficult and frightening. Maybe I'll go to prison. Sooner or later, Max is going to pay for this. It's morning now. A policeman has come to take me out of the jail cell. We are going to the court. As we walk out of the police station, hundreds of cameras are flashing, all taking pictures of me. It's just like being on the catwalk again.